So thanks everyone for joining online and in the room here today. Marco, thank you for this week's presentation. We look forward to it. I will pass it over to you, Marco, and we'll open the floor to questions to people online and here after the presentation.
Thank you.
Thanks,
thank you,
Marco.
Carol. Thank you very much. And I'm Marco Alfano. I'm a senior researcher at the Innovation Value Institute at Maynooth University. I'm the lead of the digital health cluster. And I will be talking about digital transformation for person-driven holistic health and well-being. That is the vision and the research that we are doing at the digital health cluster. And I will be showing in a few slides what is the research and activity with that. So, what's the motivation behind this vision? That we are really moving beyond the traditional concept of health. That is, someone is saying, escaping the healthcare matrix. Because we look at the different dimensions of health. So we are not only talking anymore about physical health or even mental health, but we talk about social health and life purpose or spiritual health. Someone calls it spiritual health, emotional health, even financial health, environmental health. So you see a lot of the research is going on, and they look at the different aspects of health. So maybe you have to, okay. Yeah, okay, perfect. So, no. So health and well-being is becoming multidimensional. And why this? Because, for example, there is this survey from McKinsey Health Institute, recent in 2022, and about with 19 countries, around 20,000 people, so quite big, about health perception. And what was some interesting findings are, one is that, for example, people that had reported a diseases, one or more diseases, still they would say that they were in good or very good health. So that you see 34% would say they are good health and 9% very good health, even with the diseases. And on the other side, people with no diseases reported they would say that 19% or 1% they would have a fair or poor health. So that health is not really looked at just being, let's say, free of diseases or just from mental distress, but it's something more. And another research that has been done is also about when people were asked how they rate health by level of importance. Of course, mental health and physical health are considered very important, but quite surprisingly, or maybe not, also social health and spiritual health got a very high score. You can see a very important or extremely important. So the vast majority of people were considering social health and spiritual health also very important or extremely important. And this kind of brings us to look at the health in a kind of holistic and well-being. We have to look at the different dimensions of health. And so what an holistic health and well-being model, and this is just an example that I'm kind of deriving, again, just consider this as a possible. First of all, we need to look at the different holistic health and well-being dimensions, so that's about physical, mental, social, and spiritual health. And again, this is an example, but there is also economic health, there is also emotional health, there is also financial health, as we saw. So really many aspects. And yeah. And on the other hand, we need somehow to evaluate what is the level of the health of these different dimensions of health. And so we have, for example, in this example, one level that could be poor health or fair health and strong health. And so we define this level, of course, for the different dimensions. But at the same time, we have to measure, okay, when we say that we have poor health or fair health in the physical dimension or the mental dimension or social or spiritual. So we need to consider some health aspects and drivers. And again, these are just some examples of information data from, for example, for physical inputs about diet, about food, about substance use, about movement, exercise, about daily living, the sleep, the productive activity, the exposure to nature, the state of being, the mindfulness, and of course also the healthcare aspects that are very important about our possible diseases, our possible symptoms. But it's just one part of the overall health and well-being of a person. And as you can see, when we take this data, this information, we evaluate somehow these aspects, these drivers that of the different health dimensions, we can somehow measure the level of our health status. And so kind of going back to and understanding what is the level of our health for the different dimensions, we can decide, of course, to keep if we are happy with that or to improve this. But and so this is somehow how we can consider this holistic and well-being model, and we can kind of put this in practice. But how do we do? How do we do this in practice, and mainly how do we do using the new technologies that we have in our at our disposal? So what we do in the IVI health cluster is using digital transformation for person-driven holistic health and well-being. And you see that there are three components in this, let's say, in this vision that we put in practice. First of all, we consider the holistic health and well-being model, the one that I just presented before, with the different dimensions, but we are looking and we are studying, researching on how we should, which kind of dimension we should consider: the health status, poor health, fair health, average health, good health, and so on for physical, mental, social, spiritual. And of course, what are the health aspects drivers? What are the data? What are the information that we need to evaluate these levels and to understand how to move to a level forward or to keep the level that we are, if we are happy with that. Consider also that these levels, these dimensions are not separated, are somehow very connected. So it's important that also we consider this as a whole. And so in order to put this in practice, we need to look at the different, what we call the digital health and well-being ecosystem. It's an ecosystem that where we introduce the digital technology that can help us a lot to achieve and the different level to improve our health and well-being from the holistic point of view. And so you can see there are different levels, and just this is kind of really schematic, is much more complex than this. But just to give you an idea that where we have, of course, the different stakeholders, and we have a lot of stakeholders, because when we look at the ecosystem of holistic health and well-being, we have different actors, and we need to put these actors and to make these actors communicate, interact through what? Through different applications and services that are there. There are just some examples, and of course to data. The data that have to be considered and have to be somehow put together, that be organized, that must be used by the different application and application services, and so that the different stakeholders can communicate, interact, then can cooperate. Because this is also important in the holistic health and well-being model. Everything must cooperate, everything must be seen as a whole. And this is done through an infrastructure that uses the new technology, digital technologies, the internet, of course, the cloud, the IoT wearables, the AI and machine learning, but also data analytics and etc. But in a way that is really, you see this as a kind of a single platform, even if it's made of different physical systems. That you see this as a single system that is integrated, that is cooperative, that is interoperable. So all these different elements, and as I said, as you can see here, there are a lot of elements, must cooperate, must collaborate in order to give the possibility people to really understand what's going on with their health and to make the best solution and to make the best decision. And so that the holistic health well-being model is there, the digital part, but I said also person-driven. And so there is a third element that is not, is a last but not least, that is an intelligent empowering agent. So we need some kind of using some artificial intelligence in order to create an agent, to create a system that allows a person to interact with this very complex ecosystem in the best way, not only to receive the services, to receive the information from and to communicate with the different stakeholders, but to be empowered, to understand what's going on with his or her health and well-being, and to make the best decision and to act upon those decisions in an empowered way. So they must, people, in order to really to have this vision to become a reality, must take charge of their health and well-being, and so become actors. So again, digital technology nowadays is very, there are a lot of applications, but they don't really empower the people. They just provide information, just tell people what to do, but they're not really empowering them. So it's important that we really help people to become empowered and to make the best decision. So you can see these three components are all interactive or all part of one single vision that, as I said, is, and we are working and doing different activities in this field in order to realize this vision. And so we call, of course, we call for, first of all, if you want to understand more, and if you want to collaborate, I invite you to go to the IVI website and to the digital health cluster, where you will find all the information about what I just presented, this vision about digital transformation for person-driven holistic health and well-being, the activities that we are doing. We have different projects. Some of the projects that I'm working on are funded by Liro. I work with Marcus Seifert, who is the director of IVI, who is the PI both for Liro and Adapt. There are projects that are being created with the industry under the Empower umbrella. There are also projects that we presented some proposals as a EU projects, so that you see there is a lot of activities going on. And really I invite you to look at their website and to contact me. And if you know, or IVI, if you want to know more, or if you want to collaborate, because you can see there is a lot of room for participation, for collaboration, and etc. And with this, I stop the presenting, and of course, I am open to questions. Thanks.
Very much, Marco. Very, very good. Very interesting indeed. So yeah, we'll open the floor to questions if anyone has any for Marco. Or anyone in the room.
It's important really to understand this new way of looking at our health and well-being and how everything is connected. It's not easy. It's not easy concept to grasp because so many aspects we are involved, and we usually look, of course, at our physical health, and of course, and we understand what it is, or mental health if we are in distress, or if we like to be in nature, or if we are like to interact and have a social interaction. But usually we look at these aspects as kind of different aspects, but at the end they are really interacting, and they are making us what we are, and they are interacting with one another. So that our physical, our mental health depends also on our, for example, social health, what they call purpose in life, spiritual health, so financial health, if we are, of course, if we have financial problems, this is affects our health. And so this is really, and it's not easy, but we have to consider this. This is why I say this holistic approach is important. Yes.
Yeah, Marco, can you show me the slide where you have the model? So you have those different types of health, right?
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Different type of health. So like, how do you think like it interacts, the interaction, does it differs? Or like, how do you get those things and then like how it interacts with the layers?
So first of all, again, this is just an example.
Because like, sorry, let me finish. Like, because in my sense, like I can only grasp what is physical and mental health. But what do you mean by social health and spiritual health?
Yes, exactly. And this is what is being defined. And again, this is exactly what we were saying before. For example, social health is how well and how comfortable you feel in your social interaction with other people within community, acceptance of you in community interaction with family, friends, community. And so that is related to mental health, but it's because mental health is more the ability of you to communicate, to remember, to kind of being your mind working properly. The social interaction is more, of course, in the relation between you and other people, between you and your partner, the ability of creating relationships of different type. And again, and the spiritual life is a meaning in life, having purpose in life, having feeling that there is something, that you are part of something more bigger than you. And again, of course, there are people have different ideas. But what I'm saying here, and what are also this I presented at the beginning, there are different studies that are showing how these different health dimensions are affecting also all the dimensions. So that everything is interconnected. So there was, for example, if I go back to, no, sorry. There was a association between life purpose and mortality among US adults older than 50 years, a study like that. So that about, so life purpose, or what we other call spiritual health and the mortality. So you will never think that, okay, why? Your life mortality is related to some physical problem. Not only to, of course, not related to life purpose, but there are more and more studies showing this kind of interaction. We have to consider that it's not easy. I'm not saying that it's easy also because it's really a paradigm shift, but it's also important to understand that we are made of, we have different dimensions in ourselves, and we have different aspects, and we have somehow to consider all these aspects. Of course, if you injure an injury in your leg, you go to the doctor or to the hospital and you get injured. So that is not eliminating the, let's say, the present healthcare system, but to integrate with more also with the other aspects. So it's not to eliminate or to replace, but to add, to enhance with other aspects. This is important. And this is why it's important to define them, to define the status, the level of your health and well-being. And in IVI, we have created the ITCM framework about the maturity level of, and then, for example, for enterprise. And this is a maturity level for personal level of maturity in terms of what is your health level. So measuring what is bad, fair, good, you want to improve. How can you improve? How can you move from one level to another? What are the, I was showing the aspects of the drivers about how you move from one level to another. So all this physical. So you have to improve your physical activity, your diet, your exercise, your sleep quality. Of course, again, and this is general well-being. Then, of course, if you have a specific physical or mental problem, of course, you do specific action for that. Again, it's not replacing, but it's more integrating and enhancing, as you were saying.
Mm-hmm. And do they interact with the other layers in silos, or is it like
No. Everything is this is again is really just a representation, just to show that there are different layers. But you must. I could also put. I was thinking of putting in circle because everything is interacting with everything else. Again, it's not easy, but we have to kind of have this kind of mindset about just all the elements. And to me, the infrastructure, even today, of course, we talk about cloud, we talk about physical systems that are just integrated. So the same, let's say, the same concept of a cloud that you don't know where your data is applies to the different levels, because everything is connected. Everything is so that you don't know where your application. You will just need the application that is needed. So this intelligent empowering agent, for example, is just taking the data, the information that is useful for you and the application, and you will put in communication with the person that is right for you. This is a kind of in a straightforward way. So it's for you in a seamless way. So that is really kind of helping you, is a facilitating, is a facilitator, is someone who understands that complex, very complex system. So that cloud, think of again as a cloud where the right people, the right services, the data, or the infrastructure is just one cloud and just picks the right elements for you and puts in connection with you. And of course, again, it's not easy to because there are many elements, but this is what, and the digital technology can help to do that, because it can really understand through AI, through machine learning, can really understand your profile, your needs, your level of empowerment, and can provide you with the right information, with the right services, with the right people. So it's really some facilitator, that digital facilitator that helps you to interact in the best way with this very complex digital health and well-being ecosystem.
And then we'll guide you then to solutions then.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's very,
exactly.
yeah.
But in an empowered way.
Exactly.
And this is important. This is very important. That is not providing, okay, I give you this solution, I give you to do, so you do this, you want to improve your physical health, or your, I don't know, your sleep quality, and so you have to walk more, and you should walk before going to sleep, just, or you should eat less before going to sleep. It's not just providing advice or providing the application, it's explaining why you should do that. Because then when you understand in a simple way, and this is also very important, the language that is used, the information that is provided, it's not overwhelm you, but do it in a way that is empowering you, is making you to understand, is making you to make the best decision, is making you to act in a kind of wise and empowered way.
And it brings about more positivity then, I think.
Exactly.
And that's kind of, you know, when you're more positive and you take these kind of actions, I think that's kind of, you know, kind of helps, doesn't it, too?
Exactly.
That's really interesting, Mark.
Yes, and this is why we talk about health and well-being, because it's really looking again, not if you have a physical, you have, as I said,
see it, and you know,
you have to treat that in the traditional way. This, of course, is also prevention, is also to be more proactive for your health.
Especially with the financial condition as well.
Exactly.
I think especially the way the economy is at the moment, how it is impacting people, that it's just looking at, as you say, the holistic, it's the holistic approach, how it all impacts,
Yes.
Sorry, can I ask a question, please?
Leanne, I see your hand up. I was coming to you next. Go ahead.
Thank you very much for the lovely presentation. I just want to ask, you know, in terms of how the world is changing, and I'm going to give an example so that my question can come out properly in terms of how I want to contextualize it. So you still have the setting of visiting a doctor in a physical setting where you do the physical consultation with the doctor versus also the online doctor. My question is then, therefore, if we're moving into the world of digitalization, how are the information integrated on the one end with the doctor being visited in a physical context versus the doctor obviously visited in a digital context, how are those information integrated then, for data to be generated, and then the formulation thereof, to use it in a empowering way to sort of analyze it, how that is sort of, I hope my question makes sense.
Absolutely, absolutely, yes. Because as I was saying before, look at this as a cloud for everything. So of course, data is the first thing that are integrated. It should not be any difference if you go to see the doctor in person or if you go to see the doctor online. Your data should, we always say, your data, your health data should always be with you wherever you go. When you would travel, you go to a different country, you need medical assistance, and your data, your health data, healthcare, they are with you, so you can really immediately see you. So this is, of course, and it's about data governance. And Liliana, of course, you are an expert in that. But it's really to see everything integrated, everything interoperable, everything connected, everything that is really cooperating. So this is the challenge, but also I think this is rewarding, because as a person, when we can really, and wherever we go, whoever we talk to, we can have our own data, our own information with us, and we can really avail in the best way and in an empowered way of the digital technology. That would be the best, let's say, the best use of technology to me. This is in my opinion, that would be. So that is really, and not to have technology take over, but really use the technology where we decide and what kind of information, how to share the information, but we are the information at end, and we decide how to use and to whom to share with the information.
Thank you, Marco.
Welcome.
Thank you, Marco.
Yeah, I think we are
just at 2 o'clock, so I think we'll have to leave it there, guys. And then if anyone wants to get in touch, obviously, please do with Marco if there's any further questions.
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah, the last.
On here.
Just 1 second.
Sorry now, folks. So yeah, if there's anything further, please follow up with Marco. If you wish to ask any more questions, please reach out to Marco. And just to share with you guys, for anyone new that's online, to keep in touch with us and at your upcoming events, please see our LinkedIn, Twitter, website, or drop us an email at info@ivi.ie. And just to mention today, so next week we have the Easter week, so we won't have any coffee talks next week. But just maybe to share with you, our new part-time course starting Friday, the 12th of May, Leading Digital Transformation in Organizations. There's just some information with it there, and micro-credentials at mu.ie. If you have any further questions on that or wish to apply, closing date is the 26th of April. So just to mention that for anyone that mightn't have come across it already and is interested. And thank you all so much for joining, everyone, and everyone online. And thank you, Marco.